Yeah. MD, JPB, it's only right, baby.
Yeah, why you mad? I got a bad bro. Name hot in these streets, no Tabasco. But I'm so stuck, that's a fact, yo. And if you think I'm frontin', you can run it back, yo. Go on, run it back.
You know that I run it. Everything you wanna do, I already done it. And I got your little boo telling me she love me. I got this damn, it's gonna be a long night.
Hello guys, what is up? It is me, Prince of Understand, back here with another video. Today I'll be doing What If Deku Was a Speedster Part 2. And yes, I know it has been a while since I posted this one, but I want to just get right into it. Sorry about the background noise, there will be a lot of it. And yeah, let's go. So we last started off the story with Deku being a normal kid, just trying to get through life, you know, as he was bullied for being quirkless. He was looked down on by everyone, but he did fight back, learning martial arts to protect himself. However, it wasn't enough, as those like Bakugou, who used to be his friend, still hurt him. The only thing that Deku hung on to was science, because he was smart and clever, and because science was the only thing that made sense to him, and being bullied didn't exactly, like, you know, feel good. And with science, well, he ended up getting a superpower, which was super speed, but he didn't have a quirk, he was a metahuman. Then he finally chased his dream of being a hero and entered UA with the highest score. Then after showing off his powers, soon Deku had to fight his bully, Bakugou Katsuki. Now, starting out from the last part, Deku would have just dodged Bakugou as he then punches him across the face. Bakugou would have spit out blood as he then stumbles back and falls, as he was completely disoriented and saw the hallway spinning. Deku would then see as Bakugou moves around in pain, but he doesn't feel as satisfied as he thought he would. Matter of fact, it's a waste of time. Deku would then bring out the tape to like wrap up Bakugou, but he notices Bakugou getting up. "You thought I was done, you bastard? Don't think so highly of yourself. That look on your face pisses me off." Hearing those words would have made Deku get pissed, as Bakugou had told him this a lot when he beat him up in the past. Deku would then scream as he drops the tape and kicks Bakugou in the stomach. He would then enter flash time as he took his time punching, kicking, and destroying Bakugou. However, for everyone else, Deku was moving too fast to keep up. However, they heard what Bakugou said, and all the anger as well as sadness behind Deku screaming, they just felt all of that. Deku would then stop moving so fast as Bakugou felt an intense amount of pain. With these like fish-shaped dents in Bakugou's body, he would fall to the ground out cold. Deku would then stand over and breathing heavily as he would look over Bakugou and pick up the wrapping tape. Everyone looking and hearing this entire scuffle would be kind of quiet, as they honestly knew there was no need to say anything or a reason to just say anything at all. They do know one thing though: if Bakugou says another word to Deku, Deku will go insane. That's one thing they're sure of. Deku would have just wrapped up Bakugou as he would run to where Uraraka was, and Uraraka would feel Deku run by her as she just felt like a gust of wind. "Oh, Izuku!" She would then see Deku touch the bomb, with Ida not being able to catch him, and All Might announces the hero team as winners. Ida would then feel sad, but would go to congratulate Deku, who just ignores him, and he then walks past Uraraka as well as Ida, who try to talk to him and figure out what's wrong, but he ignores them both, obviously. Uraraka doesn't know what happened, but she feels like she shouldn't press on for now. Now, when Deku goes back to the watching room with Uraraka, he is super quiet, as Ida would then walk in with Bakugou over his shoulder and he's knocked out, and All Might would say, "Alright, I think we should move on. Ida, could you please bring young Bakugou to the nurse?" Ida would then say sure, as All Might then says that if he wants to, Deku can go out and get some fresh air. "Thank you, sir," says Deku. He would then take off his mask as he then heads out, getting a look of interest from Todoroki. So the other fights proceed, and after that, Deku comes back to meet everyone as they try to cheer him up, and they understand that Bakugou must have hurt him somehow. Now, as for Bakugou, he is still in the nurse's office when All Might would give a little speech and tell everyone what they should do different, and they do a little critique. And Momo does think that the way that Deku acted was a bit weird. Well, not weird, it was just a bad thing to do, and if they were actually in a situation where they were fighting villains, it would not be a good thing to rage out like that. And he should have used Uraraka to his advantage more, and yeah, he should just let her do anything more, like, you know, do more. So when this ends, everyone gets undressed and, you know, they put on their normal uniforms, and then they go ahead and leave, and they're told to. So as the students are leaving, Deku finds Ida and Uraraka and apologizes for ignoring them. "It's fine," says Uraraka, "but if you don't mind me asking, why does Bakugou hate you so much?" "Yes, I would like to know as well," says Ida. They would then start walking as Deku told them all about Bakugou, how he became who he is, and how much of a bully he was. Even to this day, he cannot figure out why Bakugou hates him so much, and he's pretty smart. So as he's telling them this, we time skip to the next day when everyone would be in class, just ignoring what happened yesterday, as Aizawa would then step in, and everyone would get even more quiet, because they were kind of talking a bit. Aizawa would then say, "Alright then, I took the time to see your marks on the exercise yesterday. Not bad, but Midoriya, you have to learn to control yourself. No matter what may have happened between you and Katsuki, it doesn't matter. Move past it, and grow from this experience." "Yes sir," says Deku. Aizawa would then look at Bakugou, who looked pissed, as he would then say that today they need to pick a class president. So, following the same events as last time, Ida suggests that they vote democratically. Everyone wanted to be a class president, but they agreed that, Ida's right, they should do this right. So, in the end, they end up picking Ida as president because, honestly, they don't hate Deku. They understand why he was mad, but they can't pick him because he looks a little bit, emotionally unstable right now. So, Ida is the president, while Momo is the vice president. Ida will be very happy about this, as he would then thank his classmates for electing him, and they say it was the most obvious choice since he already acts like, their representative, their class president. So the bell would then ring as everyone went to lunch, and by the way, before Deku came to school, seeing how his power works, they decided to give him extra food due to his high metabolism, so Deku had more on his plates than his friends. "Feeding you must be really hard and expensive," says Uraraka. Deku would then say, "You have no idea. One day my cravings were so strong that I ate everything in the fridge, and that includes things that I hate eating." Ida and Uraraka would then laugh as the group keeps talking and discussing things, which leads to Ida revealing he is actually a part of a rich hero family. And due to how Ida carries himself, they're not that shocked, but it is still surprising. Now, as the three keep talking, a voice would then echo throughout the building saying that security level 3 has been breached. As everyone wondered what this was, they soon just started panicking because they figured, it was to warn them against villains. And one of the the higher the third year said it. So this would of course cause a widespread panic, as Ida, who was being pushed around by this new just huge crowd, just got a chance to see that there was no villains attacking. It was just the press. Seeing this, Ida would then ask Uraraka, who was next to him in the crowd, to make him float. Uraraka would make him float, as he would then blast himself towards somewhere where he could be seen by everyone, which was in front of the door where everyone was trying to bust through to get out. And after getting there, he would yell, just telling everyone to calm down and that there's only the press outside. There are no villains attacking. "Just look out the window if you don't believe me. But please, let's be calm and civilized. We're UA students." Everyone would then calm down listening to Ida as they hear him out and look outside to see that it really is just the press outside. This would then lead to the police coming over and making the reporters leave. And that ends. So as the students come back to class, they decide that Ida was definitely the right choice for president. And the way he took charge was just awesome, and they admire him for that. So soon the day would end, and as Deku was heading home, he hears Bakugou. "Hey nerd." Deku would then turn around saying, "If you didn't get enough last time, I'm more than happy enough to continue from where we left off." Bakugou would then clench his fist in anger as he says that this isn't over. "I'll be back on top soon, you can be sure of that." He would then turn the other way, heading back to his home, as he would then just keep mumbling, and Deku just goes home really annoyed. Now, as he gets home, we cut to the next day when all the students are going on a field trip. They were all suited up and they got on the bus as they started just heading to their destination. So, as they were on the bus, everyone started talking about their quirks. This would lead to Suyu saying that she thinks there may be more to Deku's quirk from what she's seen. And by quirk, she means just power. It's the same thing, it doesn't matter. "What do you mean?" asked Deku. Suyu would then say, "Well, when you run, do you ever get flies stuck on your face or anything, or through your teeth?" Deku would then say no, as this is when he would realize, "Oh, you think that there may be some kind of force protecting me. When I run, maybe the lightning I generate comes from somewhere. It could be just your quirk's natural ability," says Kaminari. Deku would then say, "No, it's not, because I don't have a quirk. I'm a metahuman. The doctors told me they've never seen anything like me before. I don't just run fast. I exist fast." So they would keep talking about their powers, as Deku thinks of something that he wants to try out later, and it really intrigues him, what Suyu brought up, because he never actually thought more about where his power really came from. He just thought he was struck by lightning, how he can run super fast, but there might be more to it. And Suyu is not around that you should just check it out, because it's a really interesting. He's a scientist, he's gonna do it eventually anyway. So soon the bus arrives at the USJ and everyone gets off looking at the huge building, and they would be impressed, and they enter following behind Aizawa as they would meet the Hero 13, who then gives them a tour of the USJ. And it has a lot of areas set up for scenarios for rescue training, but more importantly, the students are just excited about meeting 13, well, because she's a hero, especially Uraraka. So 13 would then go on to talk about her quirk and how dangerous it is, and how, honestly, even if you think that you are a hero, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't think that your quirk isn't dangerous to other people, because it can be. It can be used in different ways to hurt people. You gotta be different. You have to be like smart how you use it. This resonates with Deku as the first time he used his powers, he went a little far. I know I keep referencing this a lot, but when he ran like on the beach, he created a fucking tornado. So yeah. This also makes the other students worry of how they use their powers, especially Bakugou. So when 13 finishes her speech, she just bows to everyone and they clap, when all of a sudden a portal will start to open in the middle of the USJ. Kirishima would then ask if this was part of the training, but Aizawa gets serious, telling everyone that they're under attack. Villains would then start coming out of the portal as it expands and a horde of villains crowd the area. Eraserhead would then put on his gear, wanting the students to get back. However, as he did this, Deku would put on his mask and he enters Flash Time. He then runs down the stairs, disposing of all the villains, and he runs past all of them, tapping them with his pointer finger. He has somewhat understood that when he runs fast, he discharges a huge amount of kinetic energy, so he doesn't go overboard trying to kill the villains with a punch, because he knows it could happen if he actually punched them. He could like literally obliterate their heads off. So he's not trying to add too much force. Now, as he runs at Flash Time, to everyone else, it just looks like a green streak of lightning, and he just goes through all the villains, and I mean all of them, hitting them until he's just got everyone. That should be good enough, says Deku. He would then run back up the stairs, and he exits Flash Time as everyone just saw him come back, but it was really fast for them. It was really slow for Deku. Don't worry, I took care of it, says Deku. Everyone would then see the villains be sent flying all over the USJ, getting just pushed by this invisible force until they're just all out cold on the ground. What did you do? Asked Aizawa. Deku would then take off his mask. Well, it was pretty easy. I just went over there and hit them. Everyone would then be impressed. The Shigaraki and Kurogiri, however, were just shocked and confused. What the hell was that green thing? Kurogiri would then say that it might have been the Izuku Midoriya, and he then takes his humanoid form and points to where the kid is. Shigaraki would then get mad as his entire army was decimated, and he told Kurogiri to bring out the Nomu because it seems they underestimated these people. Kurogiri would then do so as everyone sees a huge creature appear and then gets scared at the huge amount of bloodlust just coming from it. Kill those kids and do it fast. Maybe then All Might will show up. The Nomu will then roar as it starts running towards the students, and then it jumps as it goes to smash them in the ground. Get out of the... Deku would then enter Flash Time again as he then looks back at his classmates and up at the Nomu. Okay, I can do this. I just need to go a little bit faster. He would then quickly run everyone down the stairs as fast as he can and as safely as he can. And as he finishes doing this, the Nomu would then smash into where everyone was and create a huge crater. Whoa, kid, you are way too fast, says 13. Everyone would then thank Deku, but then the Nomu would step out of the dust cloud he created and jump at everyone else again. Aizawa would then look at the creature and cancel his quirk, and he would then wrap the Nomu's neck with his scarf, and then he ran forward, keeping him away from everyone as he would slam him back into the ground a few feet away. However, the Nomu would pull Aizawa closer and go to catch him with his giant hands. However, as the Nomu was about to catch Aizawa, he would see him disappear as Deku saved him at super speed. Aizawa would then thank Deku as he would feel like this creature is way too strong, and even when he cancelled his quirk, it feels like he still retains a lot of power. And as he says this, the Nomu would finally use a bit more of its power, appearing right in front of the two with a creepy look as he keeps mumbling. He would then go to swing at them, but Deku gets them both out of there easily, and then Deku drops off Aizawa and would distract the Nomu. Hey, tall, buff, and ugly, catch me if you can. The Nomu will then growl as he starts just chasing Deku, who keeps avoiding him quite easily. However, the Nomu's bloodlust and pressure is a bit overbearing for Deku. So he decides to attack while the Nomu is chasing after him, and he actually went towards him and pulled back his arms as he just slams a punch in his stomach. He would then gain distance from the Nomu as everyone sees the Nomu's guts just explode, and now he has a hole in his stomach. He did it, says Ida. However, this is when the Nomu will start to regenerate, and this shocks everyone. Did you really think you could beat my Nomu? You may be fast, but Nomu has multiple quirks. One of those includes shock absorption and quick regeneration. This thing was built to destroy All Might. What makes you think you can stop it? Well, maybe I can't, but All Might can, says Deku. Deku would then run out of the USJ at super speed, and with him gone, Aizawa had to try and fight the Nomu all alone. However, as he tried to, he was actually really easily overpowered. And yeah, even though he canceled its quirk like he thought, well, the creature is still strong without it. I mean, it is huge. So as this is happening, we see Deku just scouring the city looking for All Might, and when he finally spots him, he's in midair. Oh, come on, I don't have time to stop. How much speed would I need to run up a building? Deku would then start running towards a building as he would start calculating how fast he would have to run. And he finds out that honestly, he just has to use about 10% of his speed. Well, 10% of his full speed. So he does so as he actually starts running up a building, and he feels so exhilarated, and then he jumps off the building, just like perfect timing to grab All Might, as he then manages to run down, just barely, because he hasn't done this until now. He actually kind of tripped a little bit, which would have been fatal, but he manages to continue. Then he runs at full speed, running right back to the USJ, and as he arrives through the main doors with All Might, everyone notices this, and by everyone I mean like only Aizawa, Shigaraki, Kurogiri, and the Nomu, because the students are actually gone, and 13 is passed out on the floor and has her suit ripped up, and it is right in front of them. Quickly, Deku would have to rescue Aizawa again, who was about to have his arm snapped, and he runs him away. All Might, who was just brought here, would feel a bit confused, but as he sees the menacing Nomu, a slightly tired Deku, an injured Aizawa, and injured 13 right in front of him, and the two other villains, he would realize what was going on. It seems like I'm a bit late, but whatever this is, it stops now. All Might would then be mad as he just takes off his suit and tie and he starts fighting the Nomu. As him and the Nomu just keep going back and forth, Deku uses Aizawa's scarf to make a sling for him and uses a bit of the scarf to keep the blood from gushing out. And Aizawa would be impressed by Deku's quick thinking and first aid knowledge. Deku would then help him up as he thanks him, and Deku asks where everyone is. Aizawa would then say that Kurogiri split up everyone, and then the Nomu started beating him. Sorry, I should have been faster, says Deku. Aizawa would then see how frustrated his student was, and he reassures them that he did good. This makes Deku feel a bit better. However, this is when they see All Might being pushed back by the Nomu just a little bit, and Deku moves on instinct. Aizawa would try to stop him, but he couldn't, as Deku would then think of a new move and gather electricity in his arms as much as he could. I guess I can thank Bakugou for helping me develop this, says Deku. He would then run and jump on top of the Nomu in flash time, and while touching the Nomu's brain, he digs his finger into it slightly, which was kind of disgusting, and All Might all of a sudden just sees Deku on top of the Nomu as he then winks at him, and then he releases a huge amount of electrical energy into the Nomu's brain until it just explodes. The Nomu would then be screaming in pain, and its brain would be fuming as it then just falls to his knees, and Deku just gets off it as it fully just falls to the ground face first, and he just lands back down safely. Deku would then take off his mask and he says, just like that, it's over. All Might would then be impressed by this kid, and since he figured out how to kill the creature so effectively without needing to punch so much, Deku would then give All Might a hand and he would get up saying, thank you, young Midoriya. Deku would then feel a bit ecstatic being complimented by, well, All Might, and Aizawa laughs thinking that as strong as this kid is, he is by far the most normal kid ever. This is when Shigaraki will start scratching his neck as he screams, and his screams echo everywhere, and the heroes get on guard. This is not fair. How did a Nomu lose to a kid? He's supposed to be the perfect weapon. I'll kill all of you, especially you. He would then point at Deku, who would feel a huge amount of bullets from Shigaraki, and it was aimed at him, obviously. Shigaraki would then go to attack, but Kurogiri would snap him out of it, saying that they need to leave now. He would then open a portal and start leaving with Shigaraki, when both All Might and Deku would start running towards the portal, and instantly All Might sees Deku pass him with anger in his eyes, but he could only see him for a moment as Deku would then just turn into a blur and run closer and closer until he manages to grab Shigaraki's hair and head, and then using the last of his strength, he pulls him out of Kurogiri's portal as he then is left behind. Deku would then slam Shigaraki down as he would start panting, and this is when Suyu and Mineta would come out of the water area to see what's going on. I just started learning to be a hero. You were not gonna escape after trying to hurt everyone. You lose, says Deku. We then cut to a few hours later when all the students are found by the police and calmed down, and using his quirk, Aizawa stopped Shigaraki from using his quirk as he was then detained. Then he was, taken in, and all the heroes got called, and they noticed the knocked out villains like everywhere. And when they told Aizawa he did a good job, he said, oh, that wasn't me, that was one of my students. He would then point at Deku, who was actually on a stretcher. He used too much of his speed and eventually passed out due to not eating enough, so all the heroes were impressed, like seriously, at the news of a kid doing this, and Deku doing this started to spread, and he was starting to become known by everyone. All the students of 1A felt bad because actually they felt a bit useless because Deku basically did everything and they had no chance to do anything. They were even taken by surprise and split up. That sucks. 13 even tried to stop Kirigiri from hurting them and she got hurt. They all felt really mad seeing Deku being taken away on a stretcher, and yeah, seeing him on a stretcher did not make things better. So we cut to when Deku woke up in the hospital and he was hooked up on an IV just being fed nutrients. Yeah, I need to stop passing out, says Deku. He would then turn to see his mom and he smiled nervously. Hey mom. I would apologize, but I think we both know I would do that again as many times as I need to. Inko would then sigh, saying, I was really worried about you now. But I heard you saved All Might. Yep, I'm a badass, says Deku. Inko would then laugh as a doctor comes in and he says that there are some people here to see him. He then allows in his classmates as well as a few heroes. Hey guys, says Deku. Kaminari would then say, dude, you have got to stop ending up like this. Everyone would then ask if he was okay, and Deku would say that he was just a bit tired. And the heroes would then commend Deku for his bravery and help. And this would make Deku feel really happy because he's barely gotten compliments and like this much care before. He would then notice Bakugou wasn't there, and obviously neither was Todoroki, but he said, typical. As everyone is talking to Deku, the heroes would then leave because they had things to do, and they apologize to Inko, saying that they will do better and that this will never happen again. Then when they left, Inko left Deku with everyone, his friends, as they then showed their resolve and said that they were going to work harder from now on, and they were going to make sure this doesn't happen again. They actually make a promise on this together, and so that's how things end, and the students are given a day off to, relax and for the heroes to investigate some things. When the students get back, Aizawa could see the determination in their eyes, and so with his banged up arm, he would announce the sports festival. Since not everyone knows about the festival, Aizawa took the liberty of explaining some things. After the explanation, everyone was excited because this was their chance to be scouted by heroes. If they did good enough, well, yeah. And so they went and got ready to go to lunch. As when Deku and Ida were heading to the cafeteria, they noticed how hyped up Uraraka was, so Deku would ask her why she wants to be a hero. I want money, says Uraraka. Deku would then say, oh, okay. I just do it because it's fun. You don't think I sound selfish, asks Uraraka. Ida would then say, don't feel ashamed of that. Wanting to be financially stable is a perfectly fine goal. Besides, I'm sure there is more to the reason why you need so much money. Uraraka would then say that she actually wants to use the money to help her parents, and she showed so much boldness when she was talking about it and so much seriousness that Deku and Ida just cheered her on, like, you go, bro. You go, girl, I guess. However, as they're going to the cafeteria, the three would then meet All Might, who would then invite Deku to eat with him. Deku would then follow him as Ida and Uraraka wonder what they're going to talk about, and something about this catches Todoroki's eyes. Now, as Deku meets All Might in the lounge, he says, if we're really going to have lunch together, we're going to need a bit more than that little bento. All Might would then laugh, saying, how about this? If you hear me out, I will give you a lot of food. It's all on me. I know your power requires a lot of energy. Deku would then decide to listen to him as All Might says that he wants to introduce him to someone who wants to see what his quirk can really do. Deku then thinks about this as he then asks if he can tell his mom, and All Might says, yeah, of course you can. And he's not bringing him to someone shady or anything. He just wants, him to know that there is a meeting coming up, and if he would like to meet this person, well, yeah, I'm just letting you know, yeah. So Deku would agree to meet this person, and he hypothesized that this person was probably a hero, as this certain hero might want to train him due to his powers being similar to his, and he probably took an interest in him. He then kept thinking about this when All Might got him a bunch of food, which he devoured at super speed. Deku would then bow at All Might, and as he would go to leave, All Might would then say, hey, young Midoriya. Yes, responds Deku. Nothing. You'll meet this person after the festival, so get ready. I'll come get you. Deku would then nod as he goes back to class early, and of course All Might says to not let everyone know about this upcoming meeting. Deku would then stay in the class writing down what he's accomplished thus far with his powers. He can now run on walls and discharge electricity way better. This is when his scientist mind just picks up on something. The first time he noticed he had super speed, he saw his hand vibrating to the point where it seemed like it was barely there. I don't have a quirk. I am metahuman, so this could work. If I put my cells in an excited state, he would then start vibrating his hand as he starts putting it down on his desk slowly. It would allow me It's a phase through solid material, probably. If my powers really do come from somewhere else, then I really hope this place can do more than just make me run fast. He would then be close to touching the desk with his vibrating hand when Ida would then walk in with Uraraka, and this breaks Deku's concentration as he then stops vibrating. Let me guess, Ida made you come back early, says Deku. Uraraka would then say, yeah, but he is who he is. Also, people were kind of giving us funny looks, so that's probably why he also wanted us to come back. Deku would then wonder why this is, and so he would decide to, talk about this, like, why they might have been stared at, and focus on phasing later. So soon all the students would come back, do some schoolwork, and then go to leave. But as they're about to, they notice their door being crowded by people. What the heck is going on? Yells Uraraka. As everyone starts wondering why this is happening, both Deku and Bakugou would step up as they accidentally and simultaneously say fuck off. The two would then look at each other, a bit surprised, as Bakugou would then say that these bastards should just leave right now and there's no point in this. As he says this, Shinso walks through the crowd and says, hey, did you know that while people like you somehow make it, others lose their chance to? The festival is a chance for others to be acknowledged or even advance in rank, even being recruited by heroes, or they might be even demoted down a class based on their poor achievements. This would then make everyone wonder where Shinso is taking this, as he would then say that he's just here to scope out the competition just like everyone else at their door, and that they can take this as a sign of declaration of war. And despite his cocky attitude, Deku notices the look in Shinso's eyes. Deku can see beneath the surface and knows that Shinso has definitely been hurt by some people like he has. He would then sigh as he says, look, you're allowed to declare war or whatever, but I can also choose to ignore you. This is when everyone would start whispering, wondering if that was the kid that stopped a bunch of villains and captured a major one. Deku would then start to get embarrassed a bit, and this is when someone yells from the back. Tetsu would then say, hey, I heard you knocked out a bunch of villains in a second, but don't get cocky. I might be from 1B, but we won't lose to you or your class that easily. Deku would then smile, saying, alright then, I won't have it any other way. This would surprise the students because they thought he was going to be arrogant, but Deku does not feel like he is above anyone else. Despite what he's done, he doesn't really care. He would then disappear in a flash of lightning, and none of them could keep up with him. Talented bastard, thinks Shinso. Bakugou would then push through everyone, angrily, as we then cut to the students training for 2 weeks. Deku worked on a few techniques. One of them was called Whirlwind, which is a move where, when he moves his hands at super speed, just, spinning them, it gets to the point where he creates a bunch, 2 wind funnels, and that does a lot of damage. And in the worst case scenario, it can help him land from high places or stop people from falling from heights before he catches them if he's doing hero work or something. Deku would then focus more on that and his lightning as he learns to control it more, being able to use a move called Lightning Javelin that I already introduced. I already introduced this move, but he's gonna work more on Lightning Javelin in this one, and yeah, I'm gonna name it Lightning Javelin. Due to being able to gather lightning really fast and being 50 times faster than the speed of light, all Deku has to do to gather enough lightning is to just vibrate his hands and just gather the lightning there. He doesn't need to run around in a circle. And Deku also learns to make his body heal faster just by telling it to. I mean, if he has a cut or a major injury, if he focuses his lightning in a certain area long enough, no matter how bad it is, it will heal in 1 minute. Deku then does experiments trying to find out where his powers might come from and what they might mean, but all he has found out is 2 things. He does have a sort of aura that protects him at all times, and even though it's not visible, it is there, which is one thing he was actually speculating about when he first got his powers, but now he is sure of it. And 2, whatever this force might be, it must be quite powerful, because he felt like the more he ran, the faster he gets constantly. It's like he's always evolving every time. From his last fight with the Nomu, he's already gotten a little bit faster, so that's awesome. Anyway, Deku would build upon these moves while learning how to phase, but he can't really get it yet. He just needs something to force him into phasing. So as the 2 weeks pass, soon all of 1A find themselves in a waiting room at a stadium and in their gym uniforms as they prepare to step out on a stadium in front of more than 100 people. Everyone would then be talking about how awesome this is going to be, and due to their promise they made with Deku, they definitely have worked themselves to the bone, and this time they were really not about to back down like that. They were going to show everyone what they can really do. Now, as Deku was just minding his own business, making sure his friction-proof shoes were tied, he would hear Todoroki call him. "Hey Todoroki, what's up, Deku?" Todoroki would then say, "In terms of practical strength, I honestly think I'm better than you." What?" says Deku. Todoroki would then say, "I noticed lately you've been getting the attentions of all the heroes, including All Might. But that doesn't matter, I'm gonna beat you." Deku would then get up, a bit pissed, because Todoroki's tone reminds him of how people belittled him when he was weak, and he would say, "I will never lose to an arrogant dick like you. You will never beat me. So bring it on, but when we fight, you will lose." Everyone would then be surprised at how Deku's mannerisms just changed like that, but they also kind of agreed that Todoroki was being just kind of rude. Like, you don't just come up to someone like that and say, "Hey, I'm better than you. F you. You're getting attention." He sounds like he's a bit mad that Deku's getting attention, so they think he's being a bit rude. And they were mostly also hyped from Deku's speech, as Todoroki scoffs and Bakugou grunts. Class 1A would then be called out by President Mike. As 1A steps out, they see other classes and a lot of people in the stands, which make them nervous, but this is their chance to shine, you know? So as they line up where the podium is, like, you know, next to the other classes as well, they start to get looks from every other class, but everyone is mostly staring at Deku, and he notices this. Midnight would then say that Deku has to come up on the stadium and give a little speech, and Deku would do so as he is the strongest in their class and 1A's representative. So yeah. As Deku gets up there, he says, "Hello, I have never been good at giving speeches, but I will say this, I'm happy to be here. Until a few months ago, I was quirkless, and now I'm what we call a metahuman. I feel like I've been given a chance to finally make a change in the world, and that's what I plan to do. And my first step is winning this festival. Anyone who wants the #1 spot will have to fight for it, because I'm not giving it up. That is all." All the students would then be wide-eyed as they start clapping, and they understand that Deku was not born some freaking genius. Like, they thought that he was just gonna be like arrogant, saying, "I'm gonna win and you guys can't do anything to stop me." But when they learned that Deku didn't have these powers until a few months ago, and he's just like, literally, he was basically not like them. He wasn't born with his powers. He just got them one day, and that really makes them like respect him, and that also makes him a bit more likable. As he comes down the stairs, he hears class from the stadium and from his classmates as well as the other classes, and he gets a bit nervous, but realizes that this is not the time to get nervous because this is where he shows how powerful he has become. Midnight will then introduce the first event, and after she spins the roulette, it turns out to be an obstacle race. "Oh, they might as well have just given me the win," thinks Deku. Everyone would then be directed to the starting point as they stand in front of a gate which has colors indicating when they're going to be starting. Deku's eyes will start to spark, as when the color allows, Deku enters flash time, and he instantly realized that people started staring at him. They were trying to stop me before I started at all costs. Sorry guys. He would then look to see Todoroki about to just freeze everything, and he laughs. "You guys have way more to worry about anyway." He would then blast off, jumping on people's heads as he then runs on the side of the wall. Slowly, ice would then start to creep up on everyone, as Deku just easily runs away from it until he exits the tunnel, which then booms with ice. Deku would then be long gone as Todoroki runs out of the tunnel, pissed as he couldn't catch him. Then from behind him, everyone from Class 1A was just run out, screaming and chasing after him. "Don't get ahead of yourself, you half-and-half bastard," yells Bakugou. Deku would then look back as he then blasts off until in front of him he sees a 0-pointer. Hello old friend. Last time you met, I was too afraid to do this, but now? With all the kinetic energy and momentum Deku built up, he would then jump as he has his right hand out, and everyone in the stands would see Deku bust through the head of the 0-pointer as he then self-destructs. "Midoriya has obviously taken the lead, showing us his destructive power. This kid is incredible, ain't he, folks?" yells President Mike. Everyone would then be cheering for Deku as he then manages to land after beating the robot in one punch, and he just keeps running. Everything feels so calm. He can't really hear the cheers because he's running too fast, but he feels so awesome. "I love this feeling," says Deku. As he would keep running in flash time, he keeps smiling. He's enjoying this so much. He knows he's in the middle of a race, but he just feels so, like, tranquil, and he would come across the giant pit, and he would just jump on the pillars, thinking really quickly, as he would then finish passing by it. By this point, Todoroki would have just taken down a 0-pointer, with everyone still chasing him. Deku would have just ran forward even faster, until he came across the mine zone. but he barely noticed it and just went fast enough for the explosions to not catch up to him. When the mines were going off in like slow motion, he then sweated thinking, I barely noticed that, I had to be more careful. He would then look forward to see the end of the race, and then he ran through the gates until he took the #1 spot. He would then manage to stop right and not fall over as he then yells, puffing out his chest. And Izuku Midoriya takes first place in under 10 seconds time. That was amazing, yells President Mike. Everyone would then cheer for Deku as he then pumps his fist, and then he looks down, noticing his shirt is actually a bit burned, and he quickly taps on it. This would make the crowd laugh a little bit as Deku would nervously just run to the waiting room area, and there he waits for everyone else. While waiting for the others, he is met by the cooking hero Lunch Rush, who says that he actually made a feast for him because he knows that it takes a lot of power for him to work. So while everyone was running to the finish line, Deku was just eating and regaining energy. Now, as the other students hear that Deku had already passed, now the stakes are a bit higher since the first place was taken, and getting a win is going to be harder when people like Bakugou and Todoroki are fighting for the second spot and actually obliterating people and not letting them get in their way. So, in the end, Bakugou ends up getting second spot this time because he is tired of losing to Deku, because he just cannot believe that someone like Deku can just keep one-upping him again. So he wants to be the top dog again, like he said. So he did not just waste any time, he just went full on. This means that Todoroki gets third place, which makes him rethink his plans because he's already being one-upped. As for everyone else, they do better than the original, but they do stand in the same place in rankings, and every other student, they're still there, Now, as they arrive, they are more exhausted than the original because they knew that someone as fast as Deku had to be stopped. But since they couldn't stop him, they tried to match him in speed, which was a bad idea. Now, when everyone is told their rankings, Deku runs out of the waiting room, coming to meet his classmates, and then the next challenge is picked. It is a human cavalry battle, which works with people forming teams from 2 to 4 people, and then they get in a horseback configuration with someone being on top while they carry him or her, and the one on top wears a headband that determines a certain amount of points he or she has acquired during the race. Since Deku was the first to arrive, he gets 10 million points, and this places a huge target on his back. Now, as everyone starts making teams, Deku asks for teammates. People say no, but unlike in the original Deku, this Deku isn't really freaking out because by his calculations, a certain group of people will have to join him because they won't be allowed to join other groups either because there can only be around 4 people in a group. So he guesses that some people will be forced to work with him anyway. Why am I stumbling? So the same people will join him, Tokoyami, Uraraka, and Mei. They eventually join him, and even though he really wanted Ida on his team, since they're friends now, he says that he actually wants to do his own thing and actually joins Todoroki's team, if I'm not wrong. And Deku understands that. He's like, okay, bro. It's not like they hate each other. So everyone gets in position with Deku being on top and wearing the headband. And as soon as the challenge starts, Invisible Girl's team and Tetsu's team attack Midoriya's team. However, as soon as they do, Deku enters flash time. And then he stands up as he then jumps and lands on Invisible Girl's formation. He then takes off her headband and jumps off their formation while channeling a lot of kinetic energy into his feet. So while he's jumping away, he puts a lot of power into kicking away. So they're literally falling apart already. Deku then does the same for Tetsu's team, and then he carefully lands back on his team. And when he exits flash time, instantly both the formations just fall apart, and they only saw a streak of lightning before they lost. Now as they lay on the ground, Tetsu says, "Damn it, I couldn't keep up. That kid spells trouble. We should have never went after him first." The two formations will then get back on their feet, avoiding Deku's team as they try to earn points elsewhere, because you can still continue if I'm right. So Tokoyami would ask, "How do you do that, Midoriya? When you're moving so fast, how can your perception keep up?" Oh, I enter this. Deku would then be caught off as he would sense Bakugou above him, trying to not make a sound and attack him silently for once. And Deku, just with his enhanced senses, feels his presence and enters flash time as he then stands up and punches Bakugou on the stomach, sending him straight back to his team before he can even use any explosions. And his team were barely able to handle the force of Deku's attack and catch Bakugou. Bakugou would then hold his stomach in anger, and then he thinks, "Damn it, how did he notice me?" "Wow, I would love to have your powers," says Uraraka. Deku would then laugh as he and his team then stay on guard while he explains how he runs and when he's running what happens. He says that he enters this space where everything is just in slow motion, and that's how he can make calculated decisions so fast. Now, as he says this, Deku sees Todoroki about to attack, and he sends a huge attack at Midoriya's team, and Deku then smiles. Sorry, Todoroki, but I'm afraid I won't let you get any closer. Deku would then signal Mei as she uses one of her gadgets to anchor the team to the ground, as Deku then starts spinning his arms so fast that they create two giant wind funnels, or like tornadoes, that not only keep Todoroki's eyes at bay, but just blow it back, and also knock off their, like, formation a bit. But, because they weren't ready for it. But luckily, Todoroki's team managed to survive due to Momo, but now Todoroki was pissed. What the hell was that? He can make tornadoes just by moving his hands fast? Thinks Todoroki. He would then speak out loud. Let's take our chances elsewhere. They would then retreat as Deku's team just gets a bunch of points. Deku constantly knocking over teams and then stealing their headbands in a flash and making people mad. So eventually they avoid them. By then, his team had like 10,005,200 points. I'm not going to go into detail. And then they just stayed vigilant until they won. And then they passed the second test. Won the test, and Midoriya's team is told to have won. And they get out of their formation and they celebrate, with Deku only getting more popular due to his incredible lightning speed. Now, seeing Deku just easily win like that made Bakugou and Todoroki mad, among a few others, as some of them would then just want to survive and not go up against them in the next test. So, as our crowd cheers for the students, Midnight would then say that they're taking a break, and during this break, Deku was planning to just eat a bunch of stuff. Well, he got us, says Momo. But still, Midoriya is quite powerful, so it's to be expected. Kirishima would then say, yeah, dude, he made tornadoes with his bare hands just by spinning them fast. He's like a literal force of nature. However, this is when they would realize that Deku was actually gone from the crowd, and so was Todoroki. Then we cut to Deku and Todoroki in a little tunnel as Todoroki wanted to talk with him. If you're here to be a sore loser, I can just leave right now, says Deku. Todoroki would then swallow his pride as he says that he's smart enough to admit that he was arrogant and that Deku definitely is not an easy opponent, but he still does plan to beat him. This makes Deku think differently of Todoroki because he's not being as arrogant, but he's not like making his resolve smaller. He still has that gutsy attitude. Deku would then ask, so what do you want to talk about? How did you get your powers, Midoriya? Asked Todoroki. Why is Todoroki so interested in Deku's powers? How will the following sports festival presume? And will Deku find out about the true nature of his power? I guess you're going to have to find out in the next part, because this is where I'm leaving it off. Welcome to the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I might have rushed it a little bit, but honestly, there's a lot of background noise today. I just cannot get a lot of peace and quiet. I managed to get a few, and then I finished recording the end of this. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. I hope you like the thumbnail, because I'm going to be using it for every part of this series. It just makes it easier on me, and you guys seem to really like it. So yeah, like I said, I will not be starting any new what ifs until I finish the 6 that I have. I might be canceling what if Naruto has spiral powers, because honestly I don't know where to take the plot now. I'm honestly stuck. So yeah, I don't know. That's all I wanted to say. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share and all that jazz, and I will see you guys in the next video.